Diary of Hans Schneider, torpedo mechanic on U-47. My name is Hans Schneider, born and raised in Lübeck, a historic port city on the northern coast of Germany. Growing up near the sea, I always had a fascination with ships and the ocean. My father, a fisherman, taught me the ways of the sea, instilling a love for the water and a respect for its dangers. When the war broke out, I felt a strong sense of duty to serve my country. I joined the Imperial German Navy and was assigned to the submarine force, known for its strategic importance in disrupting Allied supply lines. My training at the naval base in Kiel was rigorous, covering navigation, engineering, torpedo mechanics, and emergency procedures. Under the command of Captain Lieutenant Kapitänleutnant Gunther Prien, our crew was prepared for the harsh realities of underwater warfare. Kapitänleutnant Prien suggested we keep diaries, a way to record our experiences in case we didn't make it back. I appreciated the idea but couldn't shake the feeling that if we were hit by a torpedo or a mine, we, along with our diaries, would end up at the bottom of the ocean. It seemed a futile endeavor, but here I am, writing. Entry 1, January 3rd, 1917. Time departed 0500. Today we set off from Wilhelmshaven, the heart of the German Imperial Navy's submarine force. Our mission is to disrupt Allied shipping lines in the North Sea. The air is biting cold, and the sea looks like an endless expanse of grey. As the torpedo mechanic, my duty is to ensure that our deadly cargo is always ready. I've checked and double-checked every torpedo in the forward room. The smell of oil and diesel fills the air, mingling with the ever-present scent of cabbage from our food stores. As we departed, the docks were bustling with activity, filled with soldiers and sailors preparing for their own missions. The mood was a mix of somber duty and anxious anticipation. The hum of the engines beneath us as we pulled away from the dock was a stark reminder of the power and purpose of U-47. Entry 2, January 5th, 1917. Time 0800. 2 days at sea and the monotony sets in. We are submerged most of the day to avoid detection by enemy aircraft. The confined space is stifling, and the air is thick with the odor of sweat and machinery. Our meals are basic, mostly canned goods and preserved meats. I miss fresh bread. The crew's morale remains high, bolstered by jokes and the occasional song from our gramophone. We are all well aware of the dangers that lie ahead. The sea around us is a vast grey expanse, cold and unwelcoming, reminding us of the isolation and dangers we face. The constant hum of the engines and the rhythmic creaking of the hull are our constant companions, a reminder of the pressure and the depths at which we operate. Entry 3, January 9th, 1917. Time 14:30. We had our first encounter today. The watch spotted smoke on the horizon, signaling a target. Kapitänleutnant Prien ordered a dive, and we approached the target submerged. It was a British cargo ship, likely part of a supply convoy. My heart raced as we prepared the torpedoes. The order came, fire. The first torpedo missed, but the second found its mark. A cheer went up from the crew, but it was short-lived. We quickly dove to avoid retaliation. The pressure and the silence were oppressive, but we escaped undetected. The tension during the attack was palpable. Every creak of the hull seemed like it could give us away. The darkness of the depths is both a shield and a prison, keeping us hidden but also trapping us in a world of shadows and pressure. Entry 4, January 12th, 1917. Time 2300. Life aboard continues to be a mix of tension and routine. We surfaced at night to recharge our batteries and get some fresh air. The sea was calm and the stars were a welcome sight. The commander allowed us a brief respite and we enjoyed the cold night air. I thought of home and my family. These moments of peace are rare and precious. Back below, I returned to my duties, ensuring our torpedoes were ready for the next engagement. The North Sea, dark and vast, felt like an endless expanse of unknown threats. The temperature drops sharply at night, and the cold air bites into our bones, a harsh reminder of the environment we operate in. Entry 5, January 14th, 1917. Time 1000. The weather has turned foul. The North Sea is relentless and the U-boat rolls violently. It's almost impossible to keep anything in place. The crew is on edge and seasickness has claimed a few. I spend most of my time in the torpedo room making sure everything is secure. We are submerged more often now, only surfacing when absolutely necessary. The constant damp and cold are wearing on us all, but we push on. The grey skies and choppy waters are a constant reminder of the unforgiving environment we operate in. The noise of the storm outside is a constant roar, muffled but ever present, reminding us of the thin barrier between us and the raging sea. Entry 6, January 17th, 1917. Time 1600. Today we encountered a convoy. It was a tense few hours as we tracked them, waiting for the right moment to strike. The convoy was heavily guarded by destroyers armed with depth charges, their presence a constant threat. The commander gave the order and we launched a full spread of torpedoes. The explosions were deafening even from below the surface. We hit 2 ships, sending them to the bottom, but our success was short-lived. We were detected and had to dive deep to avoid the depth charges that followed. The noise was terrifying, and the whole boat shook with each explosion. We held our breath, waiting for it to end. Miraculously, we survived. The enemy's capabilities are formidable and their resolve to protect their convoys is strong. The air inside the submarine is tense, thick with the smell of fear and sweat as we navigate the underwater battlefield. Entry 7, January 19th, 1917. Time 2100. After days of evading enemy patrols, we finally had a moment of relative calm. The damage from the depth charges was minor, but it took all hands to make repairs. We are all exhausted. The lack of sleep and constant tension is taking its toll. Captain Lieutenant Preen called for a meeting, reassuring us and reminding us of our mission's importance. His words were a balm to our frayed nerves. I found a moment to write home, hoping my letter will reach my family. The camaraderie among the crew is strong, and it's this bond that helps us endure the harsh conditions. The sound of the engines and the creaking of the hull are a constant reminder of the fragility of our situation. Entry 8, January 22nd, 1917. Time 0700. We are nearing the end of our patrol. Supplies are running low and the boat is showing signs of wear. We had a close call today with a British destroyer equipped with advanced sonar and depth charges. We managed to slip away, but it was a reminder of the constant danger. The crew is looking forward to returning to Wilhelmshaven. There is talk of a warm meal and a soft bed. For now, we remain vigilant. Every creak and groan of the U-boat is a reminder of the fragile line we walk between life and death. The tension is palpable, every sound amplified in the silent darkness of the depths. Entry 9, January 25th, 1917. Time 1500. We spotted another convoy today, a rich target laden with supplies. We maneuvered into position and fired a spread of torpedoes. The hits were perfect, and we watched as 3 cargo ships sank beneath the waves. The crew was elated, but our celebration was cut short as we had to dive quickly to avoid the escort ships. Depth charges exploded around us, but we evaded them. The tension is almost unbearable, but the success of our mission boosts our spirits. The convoy was heavily defended, indicating the importance of their cargo, likely food and war materials crucial for the Allied war effort. The sound of the explosions and the rush of water are stark reminders of the violence and danger that are our constant companions. Entry 10. January 29th, 1917. Time 2000. Our food supplies are dwindling and we are down to the last of our fresh water. The crew is weary and tempers are starting to fray. The commander announced that we are heading back to base. There is a palpable sense of relief among us. I spend most of my time in the torpedo room ensuring everything is secure for our return journey. The constant hum of the engines is a comfort, a reminder that we are still moving forward, still alive. The North Sea has been a harsh battlefield, with the ever-present threat of enemy ships and the relentless cold. The thought of seeing land again, of stepping onto solid ground, brings a sense of hope and anticipation that we haven't felt in weeks. Entry 11. February 1st, 1917. Time 0700. We arrived back at Wilhelmshaven to a warm welcome. Stepping onto solid ground felt surreal after weeks at sea. We had a few days of leave which I spent with my family in Lübeck. My mother cooked a feast and my father, though stoic, showed his relief through a firm handshake and a rare smile. Lübeck hasn't changed much, but the war's shadow looms over everything. I caught up with old friends, sharing stories and catching up. The brief respite from the war has rejuvenated me, but the call to duty is never far from my mind. Entry 12. February 5th, 1917. Time departed 0600. Leave is over and it's time to return to duty. Today we received orders for another patrol. This time our mission is to intercept and destroy a critical supply convoy heading to England. The mood among the crew is somber, yet determined. We know the risks, but we also understand the importance of our mission. As we prepare to set sail, I can't help but think about what lies ahead. The sea is both a friend and a foe, and we must respect it to survive. The cold morning air bit into our skin as we left port. The engines hum, a familiar sound that reminded us of the dangers and responsibilities we carried. Entry 13, February 8th, 1917. Time 1500. We have been tracking a convoy for hours. The enemy escorts are vigilant, their weapons ready to unleash a barrage of depth charges at any sign of us. The North Sea is rough today, making it difficult to maintain our position. The tension among the crew is palpable, everyone on edge, waiting for the command to attack. The darkness of the depths surrounds us, a cloak that hides us, but also isolates us from the world above. The cold permeates every corner of the U-boat, a constant reminder of the harsh environment we operate in. Entry 14, February 12th, 1917. Time 2200. We managed to strike another convoy today. The hits were precise and we watched as 2 cargo ships sank beneath the waves. But the enemy's response was swift. Depth charges rained down around us, each explosion shaking the U-boat violently. We dove deeper, the pressure and the darkness closing in on us. The noise was deafening, a constant reminder of how close we were to death. Captain Lieutenant Prince's orders were calm and precise. his leadership a steadying force amid the chaos. The smell of diesel and sweat filled the air, mingling with the ever-present cold, creating an atmosphere of fear and determination. Entry 15. February 17th, 1917. Time 0300. The last few days have been a game of cat and mouse with the enemy. We have been detected multiple times, forced to dive deep and remain silent as depth charges exploded around us. The constant tension is taking its toll on the crew. Sleep is a luxury we can hardly afford, and the lack of fresh air and sunlight is wearing us down. The North Sea is a cold, unforgiving place, and the darkness of the depths is both a refuge and a prison. Every creak and groan of the hull is a reminder of the thin line between life and death. Entry 16. February 21st, 1917. Time 1200. We encountered a minefield today. The U-boat shook violently as we struck a mine. The sound of the explosion was deafening, and the lights flickered before going out. Panic spread quickly among the crew as we realized the severity of our situation. Captain Lieutenant Preen's voice cut through the chaos, ordering everyone to remain calm and perform their duties. The damage was extensive, and we began to sink slowly to the bottom. The cold water started seeping in, adding to our misery. We lost several men in the explosion, their bodies thrown against the bulkheads with a sickening force. The torpedo room, my domain, was hit hard. The smell of burning wires and leaking fuel filled the air. Entry 17, February 22nd, 1917. Time 0200. We are now on the ocean floor, trapped and waiting. The temperature inside the U-boat has dropped significantly, and the lack of oxygen is becoming a serious issue. Every breath feels like a struggle, and the air is thick with the smell of oil, seawater, and fear. The crew is trying to stay calm, but the reality of our situation is sinking in. We are running out of time, and the prospect of rescue is slim. The darkness is overwhelming, pressing in on us from all sides. Captain Lieutenant Preen continues to issue orders, trying to keep morale up, but we all know the gravity of our predicament. Entry 18, February 23rd, 1917. Time 1800. Hours have turned into an eternity. The cold is unbearable, and our breaths come in short, desperate gasps. The lack of oxygen is affecting our minds, making it hard to think clearly. The crew is huddled together, sharing what little warmth we have left. Captain Lieutenant Preen has kept his composure, offering words of encouragement. But we all know the end is near. The silence is broken only by the occasional creak of the hull and the sound of our labored breathing. The injured moan softly, their pain a grim reminder of our fate. Entry 19, February 24th, 1917. Time 0400. This may be my last entry. The oxygen is almost gone and we are barely holding on. Writing this diary seems futile, knowing it will likely go down with us. But it helps to pass the time, to put my thoughts into words. The fear, the cold, the darkness, it's all consuming. I think of my family, of Lübeck, and of the life I had before the war. The silence is deafening and the darkness is absolute. We are all waiting for the inevitable, hoping for a miracle that we know will not come. The sea is our grave, and we are its silent occupants. The thought of being forgotten, of sinking into the depths with no trace, is a haunting one. But in these final moments, I find some solace in knowing that we served with honor, that we did our duty. Goodbye, and may God have mercy on our souls.